Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a video that I have wanted to do since I started this channel, and that is books that made me love reading or books that I really loved as a child. So this is pretty much not all of the books, but most of the books that really made an impact on me when I was in elementary school. I definitely have books from middle school that had a larger impact on me, and maybe I'll do a video about those, but these are pretty much strictly elementary school books, and they're not picture books. They're all like the chapter books that I would read on my own and stuff, and these are just books that made me become the reader I am today. And I was such a little bookworm when I was a kid. Like, I was that antisocial kid who, like, at family parties and stuff, they would all be hanging out in the kitchen and I would be in the living room reading a book. And like, everybody knows in my family that I love to read. My cousin's friends know it. Like, everybody knows that I'm a reader, and I've been like that for as long as I can remember. So these are just basically the books that I was really into as a kid, and I'm going to stop rambling and get into the books. So I'm going to get the most obvious one out of the way, and that is Harry Potter. I don't even remember when I first read the Harry Potters. I know that I read like the first three, and I didn't like the third one. The third one scared me because I was pretty young when I first read it, and I remember when it got to the Professor Trelawney's like, he's gonna come tonight thing, I stopped reading it. I got so scared. So I pretty much like stopped reading Harry Potter for a little bit, and then I got more into it. I really don't know when it was. I know I was still being babysat, so I was probably like 7 or 8 when I got into these, and I remember I marathoned everything that was out when I was 7 or 8. I can't remember, but I had a box set, so I just marathoned all of that, and I asked for the rest of them. I checked them out from the library, and my cousins were babysitting me at the time, and I would just sit in the living room and read all day. Like, they'd have to like tear me away from my books for lunch and things like that. But yeah, I just have always loved the Harry Potter series. I know I've read the first one so many times because when I was a kid, I would just reread the first ones like nonstop. But yeah, so Harry Potter, it's like a given, but it's a love. Next up, I'm going to talk about these. These are the Spiderwick Chronicles. I love these. These are by Toni Dieterlizzi and Holly Black. I remember distinctly, I don't remember what grade I was in. I had to be in like 2nd or 3rd grade. And I was looking for a book at my school library, and the librarian was like, oh, like, I have a great book series that you should check out. And she gave them to me, and I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this. And I ended up, she kind of like peer pressured me into checking them out and bringing them home. And my mom ended up reading them to me and my brother before bed, because we both got really into them, and that just became like a thing. We would read all of these together. None of us like the follow-up series. I don't exactly remember what they're called, but they're just not as good. The 5 of these are so great. I read them about a 1.5 years ago, and I still love them just as much as I did when I was a kid. These are just really cool. It's like goblins and like weird creatures and stuff like that, and I love that. I loved it so much, and I just always will have the memory of my mother reading to me and my brother these books. They're just really good. They're like just scary enough to be like when you're a kid where you can still read them before you go to bed, but they're pretty scary, I will admit. I just love them, and my favorite one has got to be the second one, The Seeing Stone. I don't remember why. Oh yeah, it's all the goblins. I love the goblins. But yeah, so Spiderwick definitely impacted my reading as a kid. Going along with books that I would read before bed, me and my mom used to kind of popcorn read Charlotte's Web by E.B. White. This, like, we would just read, like, she would read a page, I would read a page, she would read a page, I would read a page. You can tell this is such an old book. But I just always will have that memory of reading this with my mom. And I've been read this so many times, like in classes and stuff, like when I was in elementary school, and none of it had the impact on me that reading it with my mom did. So that is just something that I will always have, and I will always have like a special place in my heart for this book because of that. So this is a book series I know every girl my age was really into, and this is the Junie B. Jones series by Barbara Park. I was so upset when Barbara Park passed away a few years ago, but these books are amazing. I remember my favorite one is Junie B. Jones is a Party Animal, and every single time I would read this, I would want to have a slumber party with my friends, and my mom would just be like, oh my god, stupid book. I loved these. She's so sassy. She's so funny. I want to read these again. just because like they are so funny, and I could definitely read this in like an hour. But these are just books that I would check out from the library, or I would get from like the Scholastic, you know, the little like book catalogs you'd get from your teachers. And I would get these. I think that's where these came from. But I was obsessed with them, and just very good memories. Going along with that, definitely I got most of these books from this little Scholastic pages, and that is the Magic Tree House series by Mary Pope Osborne. This is my favorite, Tonight on the Titanic. I don't know, that is such a tongue twister. I love learning about Titanic. I think it is fascinating, and as a kid I loved learning about it, so this was my favorite growing up. I also have Earthquake in the Early Morning. I don't really remember this one. I have like distinct memories of this one. But I do remember enjoying these and learning a lot from them. And I think like every kid has at least read one of these because they are just, they're classics. So going back to books that me and my brother both really, really loved, we have the Geronimo Stilton series. I remember being obsessed with these. I know my mom bought us like the first one, and I was just in love. And what's really cool is like the fonts change, and there's always like little illustrations in the margins. They're just like fun to read, and they go by so fast. Even when I was a kid, I could just speed through these. I love them so much, and I wish I had every single one because we have a ton of them. We have like, I want to say at least 20, but I want to have like all of them, so I think that's going to be like my goal. I also want to read through these all again. Maybe that'll be my summer goal, just to read through all the Geronimo Stilton books, because I loved these so much, and so did my brother, which is a rare thing. My brother was not a reader, but these were so much fun, and I like miss this. I miss these. Next up, we have The Amazing Days of Abby Hayes. I loved these books by Anne Mazer, sorry. I love these books because it goes back and forth between just like normal story and then journal entries. And this just was like my favorite thing. Like I loved reading Abby's journals and just like, oh my God, I wanted to write a book like this when I was a kid. I wanted it to be like, I remember I found like drafts of books that I have that were like story and then journal, and I was like, I wanted to be Abby Hayes. I loved these. I remember her like painting her room bright purple and her parents getting pissed off and all of that. I just loved these books. I'm pretty sure I've read every single one of them. If I don't own it, I got it from the library. I was obsessed with these books for sure. Oh God, I loved it. I love them so much. Like, I want to read these again too, because these were so special to me. Next up, we have Each Little Bird That Sings by Deborah Wiles. It wasn't so much this book. I bought this book because I was obsessed with her book, Love, Ruby, Lavender. I read that book so many times as a kid, and I only ever checked it out of my school library, but I just remember I read it over and over and over again, and it's about like this girl and her relationship with her grandmother, and it's just like a really, really good, like nice, comforting story to read. This is about a girl who's, if I remember correctly, her family like runs a funeral home from their house, and like it like deals with loss and just really like heavy topics for a children's book, but like there's something very comforting about it. And I just love the way Deborah Wiles writes, because I still remember just feeling very like cozy when I read these, and I want to read this again, and I really want to get Love, Ruby, Lavender, because that was such a book that like I think back to and I just remember how much I loved it. So yeah. Next up, we have A Dave at Night by Gail Carson Levine. This just, I don't even know. Like, I got this at a book fair at my school, and it was on sale for like $3, and I was, you know, how much? My mom gave me like 20 bucks, and I was like, how many books can I buy with $20? So I picked this up, and I'd never heard anything about it. I just read that this is the author of Ella Enchanted, and I've never read Ella Enchanted, so it wasn't because of the author that I picked this up. But it's about a boy living in an orphanage, and he like sneaks out one night, and basically like about the people he meets and what he does, and it's heavy. Like, it's very heavy. I remember my mom read this and she cried. And I read this in 5th grade. I distinctly remember it was in 5th grade. And I got in trouble for reading it under my desk while I was supposed to be listening to Binocula. I hated being read to by teachers, especially. Like, I could handle like with my mom and stuff, but like even then I pay closer attention when I read it myself. So obviously I didn't have too much of an interest in being read to after recess. And I would read during recess as well, honestly. But I had been caught reading this under my desk. I distinctly remember this. And I read this book a lot, like very many times. That was another thing I did as a kid. I would just reread books. Like my mom would buy me new ones and I would just reread the ones I owned. But this is such a heavy book. And I want to read it again to see what I think of it now. But I just really enjoyed it because it was different. It was like historic and it was enjoyable. But I think back and I'm like, this was like really heavy material for a 10-year-old. And the last book that I'm going to talk about the last book is the Dear America series kind of thing. I remember I had read quite a few of these before I picked up this one, and this is The Diary of Claudie, a Slave Girl from Belmont Plantation, Virginia in 1859. I'd read all like the really like prissy ones. I didn't really read any like the soldier or the guy ones. I just got the girl ones. And I didn't love a lot of them. I found them to be kind of superficial and annoying. I know like all of them like had hard times. They lived during war times and stuff like that, but like some of them like they're just, you know, they're plantation owners' daughters, and I was just kind of like, whatever. This one, however, I was very interested in slavery as a kid. Slavery and Titanic and the Holocaust were like my favorite subject. Still kind of is. They're horrific, and it's something that, you know, I'm very interested in just because it's like, you know, like mind-boggling, and I love learning more about them. So as a kid, I just was really drawn to this, and I remember reading it, and I really liked it. Basically, this is all journal entries, which is another thing that I loved. So basically I got this from my school library yet again, and I remember I kept it for a while. Like I would renew it and stuff like that, and I loved it a lot, and it just made an impact. I obviously like didn't own it. I got it from my library. So last year I was at a used bookstore like in my town, well not in my town, about a few towns over, and I found this, and I was just like so blown away with memory because I'd kind of forgotten about it. And I was just like, I walked up to my mom and I was like, I have to get this. And she was like, why? I was like, when I was a kid, I was obsessed with this. Like this was my favorite Dear America one. And like, it just left an impact. So I want to read this again really, really bad. I don't know. It's just one of those things that I just have like a memory of that, like of really making an impact on me as a kid. So those are actually no. I have one more book series to talk about. I don't own any of these, and it's such a shame because I'm obsessed with them. I definitely used to, and I think I got rid of them, and now I'm really upset about that. And those are the Mary Kate and Ashley books. Pretty much all of them. The ones where they solved mysteries, however, favorite books. The one where they solve mysteries are just, oh my god, they were my favorite. They were my favorite. I remember there was one like cheerleading and like soccer camp, stuff like that. I loved them. Over the summers and stuff, my dad would always take my brother and I to the library before we went to see my grandmother every 2 weeks. And we were allowed to get 2 books, and every single time mine was a new Mary Kate and Ashley book. I loved them. In the summer, it's like all I read. I just distinctly remember being attached to those books, and I need to get me a couple copies because I just feel like, why don't I have them? Like, I know I always rented them or checked them out from the library, but like, I have to like own some copies for sure. So yes, those are all of the books that in my memory impacted my reading as a child, or that I just remember being like my favorite books, chapter books at least, as a kid. So yeah, I think I might do one for like middle school. I think that would be really cool too, and maybe high school. I'm not sure, my reading taste is all that like changed since high school, but I don't know, maybe it has. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Comment, like, subscribe, all the normal stuff, and I'll see you guys again very soon. Bye!